Average girls, average and owning it. Average and owning it. Yeah.
Hello, world.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, and welcome. There's so many things that are going on currently.
Yes.
We're still in our makeshift studio. If you're watching, you can tell things are kind of a disaster.
It's okay. We're comfortable. We're on a couch.
Oh, I like your pedicure.
It's great. Thank you.
They look good. Oh, they match.
Yeah.
Wow. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Did you have a great Thanksgiving, Maddie?
I did. It was very restful.
That's so fun.
What about you?
Mine was fantastic.
Great.
Yeah, it was great. All right, moving on.
Hot take time. Do.
That was good.
You know how people have like different segments and they
Yeah.
have different songs
Should we
within
get
the
that?
segments? Yeah, but it's just us a cappella every
Oh,
time.
every time.
But we just have like a actual melody.
Oh, like that we stick to.
Hot take time. Do.
Okay, maybe we should like workshop it a little.
No, I think it's fine as is, but
Okay. Okay. All right.
she never listens.
No, I think it's good.
I'm kidding. Okay. So it's December 2nd, when this airs. And so everyone was just about to correct me on that.
Yeah, well, no, I actually didn't even notice.
Okay, cool. Well, it's going to be December 2nd when this comes out. Whether you listen to it on December 2nd or not, I don't care.
I don't care what you do.
It's the beginning of December though, which means Christmas is right around the corner. And I'm very excited about Christmas. So
Tell me who you got for Secret Santa.
no.
Tell me.
Our friend group does Secret Santa every year, and Haley always tries to figure it out. And
I always figure it out.
yeah, and it's so annoying because you ruin the element of surprise.
But I'm so good at it.
That's not the point of Secret Santa.
Well, for
Other-
you guys, it's not. For me,
Okay.
it absolutely is. It's literally my goal every single time. Except one year, I did get tricked whenever we were on FYE. And it was like our leadership team, and there was like 20 of us that were on one team. And everybody, they knew that I wanted to do it. They all told me different people.
Amazing.
And it was the only time I've ever been tricked. I shouldn't have told you that. I
Yeah,
guess,
that
but-
gives me great ideas. Okay, anywho. We're going to do a little this or that, and then we're going to do a little sharing.
Story
sharing.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well, I guess the first one's just an opinion. Is eggnog nasty?
Okay, here's the crazy thing. Never had it.
Annoying.
Don't know why, because I'm not like particularly picky, so I would think that I would like it, but I also don't know for sure.
Huh, that's interesting.
I think I've had an eggnog latte though, and I think I liked it.
Okay. I don't think it's nasty, but it's not my drink of choice.
Do you drink it hot or cold? What do people do?
I think it's hot, but I think I would enjoy it more if it was cold, honestly.
What do you do, Emerson?
Both. I like eggnog.
Oh yeah, Emerson gets eggnog in the middle of the year randomly.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
interesting.
I
That's
get it when
a,
it first comes out in October, and then I get it at Christmas.
that's a different type of person.
You can go now. You don't have to be here.
Okay,
Chips.
Grinch or Elf?
Oh, Grinch.
Agreed. Thank
Easy.
God.
But the Jim Carrey version. It has to be the Jim Carrey. I love Elf, but Jim Carrey version of the Grinch every time.
I just
And Maddie does a killer Grinch impression.
I do. I won't disclose because
No, you
I'm
could, though.
scared of attention.
No, I love it.
And I
Just a
don't
little
like
one.
pressure.
Just a little one if you're watching. No, just the face.
No, I don't know. I don't know how to
Yes,
do that.
you do.
I only do the face if I do the quote.
Well, then just do the quote.
No. I just think every time I watch Elf, it's not that funny and it's not that quotable.
No, I don't think it's that funny. I mean, I think it was funny whenever I was like 9. And now it's just sort of tradition, but I actually don't even watch it every year, though. I
Okay.
only watch the Grinch every year.
Speaking of tradition,
Oh, God.
what is like a family tradition that you have?
Aw, my favorite family tradition is, you probably know what it is, because I talk about it all the time.
Okay.
I was just seeing if you would
Y'all seen
guess
that
it.
TikTok? I love her.
I don't know what it is.
You don't know
Okay.
the girl? Okay, whatever. I'll put you on later.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. No, my favorite family tradition, so my dad is one of 9, and so a really big side of the family. And so every year my cousin Keith will play Piano Man on the piano by Billy
Okay.
Joel, and my entire family is usually very drunk at that point, and everybody's singing. Like, all the little kids in my family know the song, so it's like 50 of us. But as the years have gone on and our family has like gone through different things, we cry now every time we play it, which is funny because it's like a bar song. It's like an Irish pub song. It is not like.
That's funny.
It's just funny because we never.
It's not a cry song.
Oh yeah, but we're trying to. Why did I stutter so hard? Jesus, I've been doing that all day. In counseling today. I'm not me being counseled, me counseling. I was just stuttering, which really hurts my one-liners. Anyways. Now we just cry the whole time that we sing it. My cousins and I are going to get tattoos.
I didn't know it was a Christmas tradition.
Yeah, it's usually Christmas. I mean, anytime we're like all together, my dad will get hammered and decides that he wants us to sing it again. But we do it at like other occasions, but it's every Christmas.
Okay, that everyone's for sure all together, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mine is, we have like a Christmas Eve tradition where we watch Home Alone every Christmas Eve for as long as I can remember.
The first one, right?
Yeah, the first one, the classic. And then we always, I think a lot of families do this, but we always open one gift.
Oh, I wish my family did that.
What's a
Nope, try again. You're so close.
What's a Christmas tradition that you want to start, whether it's brand new or whether you carry it over from your family now to your future family? Like, you can start from scratch. I over-explain. You get the point.
There's a lot that I feel like I would want to do. Oh God, I don't know. Oh, there's a lot of things. Honestly, okay, here's something every year I beg, this is stupid, but every year I begged my mom, I don't care what the heck you put under the tree, I want something in a stocking. For some reason, I just wanted stuff in my stockings. My mom never put anything in my stockings.
Really?
No, and we had them, and I was like, no, you can put like a bobby pin in there. I don't care. Like, I just want something to like get out of it. I don't care what it is. And she just would either forget or was just like, nah, whatever, there's stuff under the tree.
So yours is going to be to have actual stocking stuffers.
Yeah, I think it'd be cute to have like, that's what you open on Christmas Eve is your stocking stuffers.
Oh, okay.
You know?
In my family, we get woken up in our bed with our stocking. So every year we open up our stockings just by ourselves, like with our mom.
Oh, the other Christmas tradition too that I want to carry on somehow is my dad plays an excellent Santa. And so my dad dresses up as Santa every single year, and it's really fun because like a couple days before Christmas he'll go to like certain like little kids' houses, like the kids in our family, and he'll like go knock on the windows and stuff like that. And so almost all the little kids in our family have some sort of cute story of like the time that Uncle Scott dressed up as Santa and like came and brought them a gift on Christmas.
So do you want your husband to be the new Santa? Or what? Like Santa? Or you just want your dad to keep doing that?
I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do it.
Maybe you'll do it. From mascot to Santa. It was her high school mascot.
For a year. Not even a full year, probably, I guess. I mean, it was that football season.
But it would be a promotion.
Granted, almost anything would be a promotion from the 2015 Bethel Park Blackhawk. Let's go BP.
Okay, this one, I feel like a lot of people disagree or like go back and forth about. And it's small, but people have big opinions, man.
Okay.
White Christmas lights or colored Christmas lights?
White Christmas lights, every time.
Okay.
Colored Christmas lights are tacky, and if you have them, I don't like them. I've never seen them look good.
You say, I don't like you.
I don't like you. I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I'm not gonna lie, I've never met a bitch with colored Christmas lights that I did like. Including my mother.
Like the girl. The girl? You don't like the girl who has Christmas lights?
Yeah.
Well, you just said
the bitch.
Yeah, so I just inferred.
Sexist, so you assume.
I just inferred. I don't remember the last time you called a man that. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I'm just saying.
Do you want me to name him? Right? Okay. Actually, I don't know who I'm referring to.
Okay, that's good. I'm a white Christmas light person by preference, but I'm not angry at colored lights.
Really? I think they look like.
I kind of like the tackiness of them.
Ooh.
Like, we used to have a fake Christmas tree in the living room that was like my mom's from when she was a kid that was like disgusting and like old. But I always had like all the crazy colors. And then the main one where we like put our gifts under was always the white ones. Okay, leads me to my next question. Real Christmas tree or fake Christmas tree?
We always did a fake one because I'm pretty sure it's because my dad's allergic. I'm pretty sure. But I want a real one.
Okay. Yeah, we're real.
But it's just expensive.
Yeah, it's true. It is expensive. But like, I love the smell of the pine
No, I do
needles.
too.
It's
we
a
had
lot
one in
to clean
college.
up, though.
One of my best friends, Summer, I lived with her for a year in college, and her dad bought us one year, just like sent it down to us. It was really sweet.
That's fun.
And it was so fun because it like made our house smell so good.
And then my second.
Oh, that's actually a tradition I would want to do. I would want to cut down a Christmas tree with my family. That'd be cute.
Yeah, fun.
Sorry, continue.
The other one, Christmas related, my second to last one. Are you like the homemade crafts ornaments, not ornaments? Or are you like, you bought the theme once and it, like the tree looks really pretty, or is it like not an aesthetically pleasing tree and it's just like a bunch of like crafts that you made pretty much, or like miscellaneous?
I want to say that I would get the sets of the like aesthetically pleasing ones, but I'm also too sentimental to like, if my kid brings me a hand painted ornament, I'm not going to say ornament. I'm not going to say like, okay, I'll put it on the fridge. Like I'm not gonna like, I'm gonna let them put it on the tree.
Okay, but like at home, what do you guys have?
At home we have a crafty one. It has all mine and my sister's like old ones.
I'm the same with the crafty part. I don't even desire to have a box of the aesthetically pleasing ones. Like I just am not that
but
person.
sometimes they have so many cute ornaments and I'm like, oh, if all of these matched, it'd be awesome, but I just don't. I mean, I wouldn't.
I don't feel that way. I don't know.
Really?
It's too put together for me.
No, I'm not put together enough for that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put out a presentation that I have my shit together by myself.
Because I don't.
I'm just authentic.
I just want my tree to reflect who I am.
Right, as we all do.
Right. So I'll do the classier white Christmas lights, but you bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna have all
Your
the
bottom
most random ornaments on there.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
My tree at home is like a disgrace to the word art because they're all made by me. My sister's actually really creative and artistic, so hers are fine. But mine are like so terrible.
Did you do the ones where you got like the little bulbs and then you would fill them with paint?
I do have a few of those.
We
And then I
have a
have
bunch
a
of
few
those.
that like are cute and they're just like unique individual ones.
Yeah.
And then I have a bunch where like someone just gave me like an object that I covered in glue.
Right, yeah.
And then just dipped it in like different sparkles.
Yeah, no, but I have a couple of those too. Like just paint, like you did watercolors all over it or something.
Yeah, and then I have
Or some that are like popsicle sticks that are like taped together with a
Yes.
picture of you on the inside.
Yes, I was just gonna say I have a bunch from my elementary school where it's just me with like a bob and bangs, and I'm like,
Do you think your mom one day no, your mom wasn't like this. I'm wondering if like moms are annoyed whenever, if you have a mom that's aesthetically pleasing, wants that kind of tree, and you hand her that popsicle stick picture of you with a bob haircut, if she'd be like, damn it.
I hope.
But your
that-
mom didn't think that.
No, my mom didn't, but I hope the moms out there that are like aesthetically pleasing, if their little kid hands them a picture of themselves on these cute little popsicle sticks, that they would be like, oh, we're putting that up. But that's not a reality, I guess.
Aw. Did you see my story the other day about whenever I was going through my craft box whenever I was at home? You had to have seen it.
I think I watched it without sound though.
Okay, no, but did you see the one with the Cole Sprouse thing?
Yes, okay, yes, I did.
I wrote in my diary whenever I was like 9. I think I was like 9, I think. I don't remember.
Do you think?
What?
You said I think like 4 times.
Did I?
You're like, I think I was like 9, I think, but I don't know, but I think.
I think I said it twice.
Probably. I'm just being sarcastic.
Anyways, I said that like I dreamt of Cole Sprouse being my boyfriend, and that someday I was going to be a superstar, and he would take me out to a movie and dinner. And sometimes whenever I would drive the tractor, I would pretend like he was driving with me.
That's the part that got me. Sometimes when I drive the tractor, I think he's driving
We have a
with me.
big backyard in my like childhood house, and so we had a tractor. And so my dad sometimes as like a treat would let me drive it around, and like really he would pretend like it was a treat, but it was just me doing his chore for him.
Yeah.
And I would just drive around and pretend like Cole was driving me on our date, and I was a superstar.
Like he was driving you, like you're in the passenger seat, so you
I don't
scoot
know.
all the way over.
Maybe
but
I
you're,
was
like reaching.
Yeah, maybe
to the
I was
driver's
driving.
seat
I don't
to
know. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember doing that. I think I blocked it out, but I don't
Oh
know.
my
Cole, if you're
gosh.
listening, I think about you. You know.
Is he with somebody?
Me? No, him and what's her name broke up. Him and Lily Renner.
Ah. I knew that was coming.
Did you? You sensed it?
Yeah.
You knew there was some turmoil going on there?
Yeah. Dylan was always my favorite growing up.
Yeah, see, of course he was, because he was like the, farting with his armpit brother.
Yeah.
And I liked,
Well,
Cody because he was smart and dorky.
yeah.
Yeah, see?
I like Corey's smart, but he's not dorky. He's like fart with your armpit type guy.
Right. He's found the happy medium.
Yeah, he's my perfect Zach and Cody.
Oh my God.
What are we saying?
I cannot wait to do your maid of honor speech at your wedding because I'm saying that.
Barf.
That you once referred to him as your perfect mix of Zach and Cody. Oh, that's perfect ammunition.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Okay, anything else?
No, now we're gonna start with our regular programming.
Okay, so we're to get out of the Christmas spirit and into murder. We were gonna break it up a little bit and do a table talk, but we are gonna plan ahead for our table talk.
We just like murder.
We also just like murder more than we like talking.
Huh?
More than I was gonna say more than we like tape. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Anything I'm saying, just disregard, please.
Always.
So you actually, the podcast.
whole
is over.
podcast.
Just go. It's fine. It's the rest will just.
What
be
if
me
I just
talking.
muted all the parts of you and it was just me talking the whole time with no responses?
Sometimes.
I think we get 5 stars.
Small.
Granted, the whole half of the in case you weren't wondering episode, which is our true crime ones, would just be silent. And you're talking for like 20 minutes and I'm like, dang.
You're like, wow, that's great.
Yeah, it'd just be me.
And then it's Maddie going, okay, but I'm pretty sure I would have known that he was a murderer.
Or like really upset that they're like not thinking clearly.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like a murderer.
Yeah. Why would you go in the basement? Okay, so this one, this one is another one of the ones that I would probably die for. I'm not sure if I would necessarily die for this one, but this one I feel
strongly
about as I do most things because I am a strong feeler, you see.
Yeah.
So, this one's a death row case. Now, do you want me to give you
I just signed 2 petitions today on 2 cases for different prisoners that are facing death row.
that are wrongfully imprisoned or just
And I also sent a letter to Trump.
to Trump himself?
That's what it said to send it to.
Oh, okay. You sent it? But someone else wrote it. You just put your name at the bottom?
Yep.
Oh, can you send me that?
Sure.
I want the article. Okay. Anywho,
It'll be connected to our link tree in our bio.
we should do that.
We have one.
We do?
Okay.
We
It's
have-
okay. It's okay. We have a link tree, yes.
I didn't know. Oh, a link tree. Oh my god, I didn't realize link trees. You could put multiple things in them.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole point.
That's why
of
it's
the
called
link
that.
tree, yeah.
Oh, this is why Maddie's our tech person.
Oh
I don't know if
god,
you can tell.
it's okay.
I never thought of that. I wonder why it said that. And then you can go to multiple things. You put it in there already?
Yes, it has our Spotify, our Anchor, which is our main recording platform.
Mhm.
It has Apple Music, and it has our YouTube channel.
But it doesn't have the letter.
It doesn't have the letter yet. I'll update that ASAP.
Thank you. Now
Okay.
it does. By the time you're listening, Maddie and I will be done fighting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, this is one that add this to the list of petitions because I want to know what everybody thinks about this one because this is a current death row case for a mother.
Bitch, I'm a mother! No drama!
No drama.
Oh, I thought you were telling me not to tell you. Who has been accused of murdering her 2 sons. Now, there's a lot of discrepancy. I was going to break it up kind of the way that a Crime Junkie did it, but I didn't want to copy them exactly. But I got part of it from a documentary, and then there's also a 2020 episode called The Last Offense that was really good about this.
Okay.
And then there's also 2 Crime Junkie episodes about it because it's a lot of info, but I kind of like took out the important parts and got the big chunk.
Okay.
I'm
ready.
So, this takes place in Rowlett, Texas, 1996. It's June 6th.
It's 2 days after my birth.
I think they planned it that way. It's a really hot night in Texas. And so Darlie Routier and her son, Devin, and her other son, I don't know why I said it like that. Her one son, Devin, is 6 years old. Other son, Damon, is 5 years old. They decide they're going to have a sleepover in the living room and camp out because it's really hot upstairs. And they decide to like make a night of it. And so Darlie's going to sleep on the couch. And she's fine with that because she's been having trouble sleeping anyways. Because they also have a new baby, Derek, who's 8 months old. Who names the baby Derek? Not exactly
Devin,
sure, but
Damon, and Derek.
yes. So this is where it is going to get confusing because the husband's name is in here. The husband's name is Darren. Darren, Darlie, Devin, Damon, and Derek.
Okay. I actually don't mind when families do the whole same first initial thing, but not if they all sound like the exact same name.
Right, I would just mess it up all the time.
Right.
So, yeah, it'll probably take some, okay, whatever. Anyways, so she's good with sleeping down there because Derek has been sleeping in the room with her and her husband because he's in the crib. And he has been like tossing and turning and like makes a lot of noises at night. And she's a light sleeper, so she's like, I've been having trouble sleeping anyways. It's hot up here. I'm gonna sleep downstairs with the boys. We'll have a little sleepover. Gonna be a grand night, whatever.
Wait, can I just interject for 1 second? Because I have this app. You said they've been tossing and turning and making a lot of noise.
I used to have that app.
I have that app, and you can literally hear me snoring every night, and it's kind of funny.
You snore?
I snore for an average of about 3 to 6 minutes total. So like there will be, it tells you weird things, but like I listen to it every morning because it's very funny to me. Listen to this. That's literally me, and it's just one snore. It's just one snore, like that. That was at 5:01.
The night you forget how to breathe, and then you're back to normal, and then she resets.
For another hour or two, and then I do another one of those.
Just one. Yes. I think it's you like slightly waking up and then being done.
No, I'm in like my deepest sleep.
No, I think you're just like switching cycles.
Ah.
You know, like I don't remember the difference between non-REM sleep and.
Anyways, I just had to share my snore.
Thank you, appreciated that. Okay, so they are sleeping downstairs, chilling, and they live in a newly built home in Rowlett, Texas, which is like a suburb of Texas. It's like a cute little neighborhood. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's expensive, but it's very suburban, typical area where nothing bad happens. So
always.
Right, exactly. So the boys end up falling asleep around 9 p.m. that night, according to Darlie and Darren. So somewhere between, and so Darlie and Darren stay up a little bit. They're talking about a bunch of different things, finances, whatever, which comes into play later. And then somewhere between 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, Darren wakes up upstairs to hearing his wife in a blood-curdling scream. So he runs downstairs, and he hears his wife yelling Devin after their son, but she says she was yelling Darren. So, it could just be because all their names sound the freaking same, but whatever. So he ends up running down there, and immediately he sees that Darlie is like running around and Devin is on the floor, and he can see that there's just blood, and it's dark, but he can tell that there's blood. And as he gets up closer to his son, Devin is the 6-year-old, he gets up there and he sees that there are 2 holes in Devin's chest. So he tries to do CPR. This is really gross, but air and blood comes sputtering out of his chest. So CPR isn't going to work. So he looks around the room, sees Darlie is on the phone with 911 screaming already. And she's saying, someone stabbed me and my children, my little boys. It's super chaotic, obviously. There's a lot of things going on, but she's yelling, my babies are dying. Oh my God, they're dying, they're dead. And then she's saying, hold on, honey, hold on, to the boys. So it's really terrible. It just sounds very, clearly very chaotic. And you can listen to the 911 call, which I know I say every time, but okay, so then all of this is going on. They end up coming in, and they find the 2 boys have both been stabbed. So Devin, the 6-year-old who had the wounds in his chest, is dead on the scene. So as soon as they get there, he's already gone. He had been stabbed twice in the chest. Damon has been stabbed 6 times in the back because he was sleeping on his stomach, and he's the 5-year-old. But he's still breathing, so he's taken to the hospital, but by the time they get to the hospital, he's already dead. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the way that Emerson just made a bunch of noise and waltzed into the room. Just wanted to clarify I wasn't laughing at a dead boy. So basically that's what happens. Then they also find that Darlie, which we're going to get back to, Darlie has also been stabbed. She's been sliced across the neck, and she also has a...
Darlie's the mom?
Mm-hmm. And then she also has a stab wound that's cut to the bone in her arm.
Oh.
So there's clearly a lot of different things happening by the time that Jim Patterson, who heads the investigation with Rowlett Police, gets there. And there's a lot of questions about what the heck went on in general. So they immediately find that the murder weapon is in the house, and they see that the offender had taken it from the Routier's own knife block in their kitchen. So if you're going there to plan for a murder, you're not getting the murder weapon there. So it doesn't make sense. So it's either was random.
Or you mean if it was somebody else?
Yeah. If it's a random person coming in, they're not going to get their murder weapon there.
Also, is the kitchen upstairs?
No. They're downstairs, remember? Because they slept downstairs.
I know, I was thinking like it might have been one of those houses where you walk in on the top floor and then you go to like a basement.
Oh, no. It was a big 2-story house.
Okay, so you walk in on the main floor.
Yes.
Which I guess is way more normal to assume.
Well, I guess, but I guess it's because I've already seen what the house looks like. So that's taken there. They had taken a butcher knife. A vacuum cleaner has been knocked over and a glass of wine has been spilled. But other than that, everything else in the house seems pretty much intact. All of the diamond rings that she wore were on the counter in the kitchen untouched, so it clearly didn't look like it was a robbery gone wrong. Mm-hmm. So what would the motive have been? Because the chances are motive probably wasn't to just come in and kill 2 boys, and it wasn't sexually motivated, it doesn't look like, because they're not sure, they don't have any evidence of that. And then there's also, why were the boys killed? Were they not expecting to see them sleeping in the living room? Lots of weird questions.
Yeah.
Then they can't get a statement from Darlie until 2 days later because she's been in surgery because of her injuries, and everyone apparently has in those 2 days, everyone has different perspectives about how Darlie behaved and whether she was grieving properly or not, which you never know how you're going to act in that situation in general, like what's supposed to be normal after you've just been through something that traumatic.
Right.
Which is like as traumatic as it possibly gets. So in the event that this wasn't her, this is like the most traumatic experience someone can go through, is to like almost be killed in front of your already dead kids.
Ew.
So once Darlie's able to get her statement, it goes a little something like this. Darlie says that she woke up to a weird pressure on her chest. She hadn't heard anything before then, which also comes back into play later. Damon, she finds that the pressure that she's feeling on her chest isn't from being stabbed. It's from Damon, her 5-year-old, is leaning on her and he's crying. And so her eyes kind of adjust to like what's going on. She sees that there's a man standing at the end of the couch and he's kind of like fast walking away from her. And so she's slowly putting things together, but it's like everything's happening at once. Doesn't really realize what's going on with Damon, but she's realizing something is wrong. She gets up after him and then she starts running. And in her running, she breaks the wine glass on the counter. That's what she says. She's following his path through the kitchen into the laundry room utility room that's right off of it. Okay. And there's a door out that way. So she's following his path, and she instinctually grabs the knife that he left, that he had stabbed the boys with. She grabs it off the floor. Like, I don't think she had realized at this point that anybody, like, I don't know, maybe she saw that he dropped something and just in the gesture kind of went and picked it up. She and grabs it from the floor without thinking, and then this is when she starts screaming for Darren because she sees that something's wrong. So once she sees the knife, she stops chasing that guy and turns around to see, like, wait a minute, if he just stabbed someone, who the hell did he stab?
Yeah.
And goes back to the boys. And so that's whenever
Darren
Darren
just
comes
walks
down.
out the back door.
The back door.
The side
I'm sorry,
door.
there's not a door back there. I'm wrong. There's a window. There's a very large window, which also comes back into play in a minute.
But he just exits, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And he's running at this point too. Like, by the time she starts running, she's like chasing him out, but he manages to get out.
Okay.
So, police can't find a motive for a random person if it isn't a burglary, unless, of course, it ends up not being from someone outside of the house at all. Mm-hmm. So the first thing that police find suspicious is the knife. So she told investigators that she had picked it up as she was running after the man, but there was no evidence of the knife being on the floor. So they go and like examine that part of the floor, and there's no evidence that there's no blood on the floor.
Okay.
Which is weird.
Yes.
There was a mark and blood transfer from the carpet where she set it down later, but no mark or blood where she picked it up from. So it's not like it just wasn't dripping or like wasn't.
Yeah.
Like it should have been there. Mm-hmm. So people are saying, why would she make that up? Maybe she was trying to cover it up and validate why her fingerprints was on it, was why she grabbed it. Mm-hmm. In the 911 call, she also addresses the knife and says, oh no, if I hadn't touched it, maybe we could have gotten prints, which everyone thinks is weird, that she said that in the 911 call after your kids have just been stabbed. stabbed. But
Right. You're like clearing your name a little.
right, it sounds like that when you say it like that. But if you listen to the full 911 call, it's she was pressed to say that. It was like somebody said, "No, don't touch the knife. There could be prints on it," and she's like, "Oh my god, I already touched it. We could have gotten prints from that." It wasn't like she just willingly gave up that information.
Yeah.
So it kind of ends up getting skewed, and they use that in the prosecution. But they also say in the 911 call that she never says her children's names, which people find is weird, but I don't think that's weird. Anywho, so, alright, so the next discrepancy that police find is that she is sleeping downstairs because she's such a light sleeper. Then how the hell did you sleep through being sliced across the neck, stabbed in the arm, and both of your sons being murdered?
Just doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't. Wait, listen.
I hope we can pick up Melissa laughing in the kitchen.
It's funny because Melissa didn't hear the beginning part, so that's the only part she heard. So, now the other thing is that Darlie said that the wine glass broke as the whole commotion is happening, but the problem is there are bloody footprints under the broken glass.
Oh.
So, like, it looks like bloody footprints happened. Someone threw that over there just to stage it. Which, first of all, if you're going to stage it, maybe do more than break one wine glass, you idiot. Okay. But people are saying, how reliable can her story be in her timeline when she's losing as much blood as she was? So there's some issues in general with what they find. People are saying, like, the injuries are so different from the boys because the boys are all being stabbed. No, right. The two of them are being stabbed, but she has a slice across the neck and a gouge in her arm. Like, it doesn't make sense. But,
so do people think she stabbed them and then she tried to, like, wound herself as well?
Right. That's what they're trying to say must have happened. But the thing is, the slice on her neck came within, I believe, I'm trying to find it, but I think it's 2 millimeters. I want to say it's 2 millimeters of her carotid artery. Yeah? Is that what it is?
Carotid.
Yes, you're right. But they also find that the only reason that it didn't continue and hit her carotid was because her necklace got tangled and the necklace stopped the knife. So it wasn't because she stopped and just knew exactly where to stop. It was the fact, like, you could tell where it intended to keep going.
Okay.
So and it was actually she was losing a ton of blood and was totally, like, drenched in blood. So it wasn't like it was a lot. Or it was like a very minimal injury. It was very life-threatening. And also the cut to her arm, people were like, oh, she has a cut on her arm, boo, hell.
It was to the bone.
But it was all the way to the bone. You could see her bone. The necklace had to be surgically removed. And then also, this is something that they said in the Crime Junkie episode that kind of, like, puts it in perspective. They mentioned that the vampire facial that you see sometimes, like, on Instagram and stuff, where they poke you with a needle, that goes into your face about 2 millimeters. And that's how far it was from her necklace.
Oh.
So, like, not a lot. Like, very, very small amount.
There's a light.
Isn't that weird? Yeah, it's alarming. So, they also look at her pictures that they took at the hospital whenever she first got there. And she's also covered in bruises from her wrist to her armpit that are blue-black. Like, I mean, completely covered all the way down, which no one knows how she could have done that to herself. It doesn't look like a fall. It looks like she was attacked. So.
But she doesn't even mention an attack.
Well, during that 911 call?
Yeah.
Well, she does at one point, but it's also in the mix of a million other things that are going. She's saying, like, I was hurt too, but she's saying the boys are dying, the boys are dying.
Okay. It just wasn't her main focus, I guess.
Right, yeah. So that's that. So blood evidence. Blood evidence, there's not a ton of blood on the couch where she was sleeping. The most amount of blood from Darlie was found over the kitchen sink. So people are saying, did she stand over the sink and make her own injuries?
Oh.
Over there.
I feel like that makes sense.
I feel like it does make sense too, but also she's running around, like, there's so much going on. She's on the phone with 911, like, maybe she had, and they don't know exactly what went down. Maybe she had she was leaning over while she was on the phone. Maybe she put a towel to her neck and then threw it in there. Like, no one really knows exactly what went on in that way. Police describes her injuries as superficial, and that there's such different wounds from the boys. That again, and then they were saying, but why did they also stab her after? Because they stabbed the boys and then
that's what I'm saying. That's what doesn't make sense to me.
There is a slight answer to that, so there will be something that comes into play. So Darlie, when they asked Darlie what she thinks happened, she says that she thinks that they managed to get in through a cut screen in the back of the house, which is through that utility room. The police don't buy it. They said screens can be popped off. Any criminal knows that screens can be popped off rather than cut through.
Thank you.
Do I get one?
Yes.
Okay, amazing. She's bringing hot chocolate. We have a bet not to turn our heat on, and so we're just in a bunch of hoodies and yeah. Okay. They also say that there is a layer of dust undisturbed on the windowsill that would have been disturbed had somebody come through, and there's also mulch out there that would have been disturbed. They also say that there was a bread knife in the knife block that had microfibers on it that have it's fiberglass rods and a fibery compound. I'm not a chemist, I don't know what that means. According to that, they say it's the same that you would have seen on screens, so they think that it looks like somebody took that bread knife out of the drawer, cut it, and then put it back in the river. So not ideal. So then they were saying, how did he gain entry with a knife that was already in the house?
Right.
You wouldn't have. So what would be the motive then? Why would you kill your two kids that are 6 and 5 years old? So they're saying financial freedom because Darlie is trying to afford a lifestyle that she just can't afford.
Okay.
So Darren owns and operates a company that has been slow for a few months, but at the same time they have super nice cars, they have a new house, they have a boat. Darlie's planning a trip to Mexico with some of her girlfriends. So they're racking up some debt. At this point it's about $22,000.
Okay. Which like isn't great, but also not like the worst.
Not the worst. I mean, I guess maybe
just
because
sell a car,
right? But apparently they're saying it doesn't look like Darlie was really slowing down. And Darlie says, yeah, I wasn't slowing down because I wasn't worried because there were slow seasons in his business and we would always be fine. Okay. And I honestly don't have it written down what his business was, but I think it was something that really was based off of the season, I want to say. And so, like, I don't know, like a landscaping business. It's going to be crazier in the summer, but during the winter, no one calls you. And you don't freak out. You just know that that's the season of the business. They also said that they didn't have substantial life insurance on the kids at all, so it couldn't have been that they were using the kids for life insurance.
Okay.
But there's no explanation as to why she didn't kill the baby too. And people are saying that it's just because he was upstairs with Darren, and so it just like it's better to kill off two if you can. Is basically what they were trying to say.
Or like the little ones more innocent.
Yeah, maybe. I would hope that you would have a little bit more trouble killing a baby.
Right.
But granted, I don't want to kill a 5-year-old.
Right, but I think
I don't want to
that
kill anyone.
I'm not justifying it at all, but I think 5-year-olds can be way more annoying than
more stabbable.
Well, no, that's what I'm not trying to say. But like 5-year-olds can just be way more of a pain in the butt. Yeah, because they're like.
Yeah, but have you ever held a baby that you cannot figure out why it's been crying for 3 hours?
Yeah, for sure. Wait, how old is the littlest?
8 months.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be
our
hard.
Friend Sarah and I were babysitting a 3-month-old the other day. Our friend Erica, Michael's baby, who is an amazing baby, but she was just real fussy that night. And her name was Violet. We just started calling her Violent because she would not stop screaming.
But like, obviously, killing a baby or a child is like would be so hard. But a little tiny infant baby that like is so much more innocent than like a mischievous 5-year-old who's like. Won't be disciplined, like...
Yeah. So Maddie's gonna kill her 5-year-old.
No, I would never. Oh my god, don't say that.
Sorry. Okay. Now, it's already looking a little bit sketch for Darlie at this point, but they also find a note in her diary. In it, she says, I hope... it's written to all 3 of her sons. And she says, I hope that you'll forgive me for what I'm about to do. Ooh. This is about 1 month before. So police are saying that it's a confession of... It's a belief. Police say that this is a confession of her plan. Now, the thing is, and I come into... I'll come back to what that means.
Call the police.
I keep getting excited. Shut up. Please let me live my life. So what seals Darlie's fate, though, is this defining thing about Darlie's case that makes it's referred to now as the silly string case because of this. This is what happens after. So the boys die on June 6, 1996. On 6/14/1996, it would have been Devin's 7th birthday. Sad. So Darlie and her family have a graveside celebration. So they bring balloons and news stations and silly string, and they try to have like a little party for him, but it's unsettling to watch because news footage comes and they record it and they sing happy birthday. There's kids running around, they spray silly string.
Nope, don't let go, that's really hot.
Sorry, she's delivering us hot chocolate.
Don't ask for Haley.
So things are...
You can come in. You can say hi.
Yeah, do you want to say hi?
If you're watching, this is a special treat.
Nope. Try again. There she is. This is Melissa. She has her own podcast.
Yes,
too.
oh my gosh, listen to her podcast. It's called You Should Stand Up for This.
You might want to.
You might
want to stand up for this.
Free
Instead
ad.
of like, you might want to sit down for this.
You
it's
should.
clever. You might
She's
wanna
so clever.
Yeah. Check it out. We'll link it in our link tree.
Basically, this is what Darlie says in this thing. And again, you can look up silly string and it will come. Well, I'm assuming not just silly string. If you type up
Google images of silly string.
and this comes up. She says the boys wouldn't want us to be sad. The boys are up in heaven celebrating right now. So it's pretty cringy. In it, she's chomping her gum like a valley girl. Like it doesn't, and she's like
not a
this
good
blonde,
look.
beautiful. It just doesn't. It doesn't look good. And so it's basically the nail in the coffin of public opinion. So. This happens on the 14th, and then on the 17th, the police release the house back over to the Routiers, and on the 18th, Darlie is arrested in the house where her sons were just murdered. So she's tried just for the murder of Damon. The prosecution wanted a backup plan in case they didn't get her on just one kid. They could try to get her on another one, which I think is screwed up because it's the same crime.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's just 2 counts of murder.
They separated it to make it, like, what's called?
Yeah, because
worse.
the investigators are sure that it's her and that there's nobody else. Which, in case it's not clear already, I actually don't think she did it.
Oh, okay, that's weird. I think she did. At
Okay.
least from what I've heard so far.
Well, this is how they kind of split it up in the Crime Junkie episode, which is probably why, at this point in the game, you should think that Darlie did it.
Okay.
But, here's...
Also, wait, sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I have a new fear now, in
Okay.
case
being wrongfully imprisoned.
Well, my first fear that I realized by doing these podcasts is not grieving the right way, so then I become a suspect because
Grief drop.
I'm not responding how I should, and then all of a sudden they're like, that's weird, that's a red flag, and then all of a sudden I'm on the chopping block.
Yep.
But my new one is that they're going to read through my diary or my journal and think that something that I had said previous makes me sketchy too.
Oh my god. I'm gonna
Like,
look through all
what
my
if
journals
me
tonight.
verbally processing how hard I am on myself is just like, oh, she's like,
And they take it out of context.
yeah,
Ugh.
that sounds terrifying.
That's scary. And they can just go through all your journals. They can just publish them wherever they want.
Oh, that feels scary.
That's rude.
Yeah. Okay, continue. Just
Anyhow.
wanted to share my new fear.
So, basically, here's one of the issues with this, is that nobody in Darlie's personal life thinks that anything the public is being told is accurate. There's not one person that comes out and says that Darlie was a bad mom, that Darlie was materialistic, that anything, including Darren, her husband, is like, nope, she didn't do this. Like, there's no question whatsoever. And to this day, Darlie and Darren they're divorced, but only because Darren needed to like move on with his life because Darlie is still in prison, spoiler alert. But it's not because he ever doubted Darlie's innocence. He still thinks that she's 100% innocent.
So why couldn't he stay married to her?
Because she had been in prison for like, at this point, like, I guess it's been however long. They only got divorced a couple years ago. Like
Right.
3 or 4 years
So
ago.
is
I
he
think
like
he just
trying to
wanted,
get remarried?
I think he like needs a new
Okay.
life. Like, I mean, how long can you be married to someone who's in prison?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it just is kind of, you know. Anyways, so, again, the first thing that really comes in as evidence that maybe Darlie didn't do it are those injuries, because they're very extensive. And if you see and I'll post it on our Instagram of what some of her injuries look like. It's not like graphic stuff, but like the bruising, kind of what she looked like post-op. She did almost die. It wasn't like she like had a couple paper cuts and the boys died. Now, the other thing is the diary entry. Now, that was one line from an entire entry, so kind of like what you're talking about. They took it out of context. The entire entry was Devin, Damon, and Drake. I put in here insert note, and I didn't even do it. What an idiot. Basically, it's an apology about what she was thinking about doing to herself. So, she actually was getting treated at the time for postpartum depression after she had Derek.
Oh, I feel like that.
I put Drake, and literally his name is Derek. Was I asleep when I wrote this? Jesus.
Drake, Champagne Poppy.
Derek. I don't know what I was doing. She wrote a lot about this in her diary, and the whole rest of the note was about how it was a suicide note, essentially.
Oh,
or how it was
but
going
I feel
to
like
be.
that makes her look even worse. Like
Because
she wasn't mentally in a good spot already.
But mentally in a good spot doesn't mean kills your 3 children. Or your 2 children.
But sometimes postpartum can be feelings of wanting to, like, get rid of your baby.
Well, right, but that would just be the baby.
Yeah.
Not your whole
It doesn't.
family.
I feel like that overflows into
Unless
everything,
it's postpartum psychosis, but she wasn't having postpartum
Postpartum.
Oh my god! Today is not working out.
Psychosis.
Postpartum psychosis.
Postpartum.
Now,
for sure.
actually, people argue completely against what you just said.
Really?
Because they think that it is completely insane to think that you would. They think that you're insane. No, they go on a whole tangent about it in the Crime Junkie episode because they're basically the investigator tries to say no normal mother wants to kill herself, so no normal mother. This is clearly an action of a not normal mother is also killing her kids.
But a huge percentage of women actually go through
Right, exactly, and none of their kids die, or they don't actually kill their kids.
But it doesn't mean
like,
that the thoughts or the feelings or the like fantasy of not having the children don't happen, because that's very common.
Right. But why would it be the baby for one? But also it's 8 months out, so normally that happens within the first couple of months, if at its most extreme point, and she was getting help for it at this point.
Okay.
So chances are, and this was taken a month. That note was written a month before. And so clearly she didn't act. She said, what I'm about to do. She clearly didn't act on it. I mean, if she was actually planning on doing it at that moment. Basically, yeah, they tried to argue that if she's talking about being able to kill herself, then she's capable of killing her kids too, which I think is a terrible argument. Now, the other thing is Susan Smith had happened at the same time. So Susan Smith was a woman 2 years before who was from South Carolina. She made national news for saying that a black man had hijacked her car. And then she did press conferences, said that she was a grieving mother, wanted her kids back, and 9 days later she ends up confessing to killing both of her sons by rolling her car into a lake with her kids inside. Yeah, it's disturbing. It's like a very gross story. And so people are already like in the wake of not trusting moms with these stories because of that story. It like was national news everywhere of like how disgusting this whole situation was. So people were like, okay, moms are capable of this, so why would this mom
not do it?
White mom in the South would absolutely kill her 2 sons because so did Susan Smith. So they end up they're talking constantly about money and the trial and about how she spent money on her breast implants and bleaching her hair. It's a total character assassination on how she's this materialistic Barbie girl. The jury focused on that when meanwhile no one in her life says that she was anything like that. She said, I had money in the past couple years to be able to get breast implants. My husband had a thriving business. I can do whatever the hell I want. Got her breasts redone after she got, I don't like using the word breast, got her boobs redone. And everybody was blonde at the time. She wasn't the only blonde. In Texas, everybody was blonde. Even if you weren't a natural blonde, you were blonde.
Sure.
So a blonde woman doesn't mean she murdered her children. So then the police, apparently, with the silly string situation, they had put surveillance on the gravesite, which is technically is like a weird thing you're really not supposed to do, but they did it.
It's like frowned upon.
Yeah. It's like a legal loophole, yeah. But what they had found that before the whole silly string party happened, I forgot we're on camera, I just flipped off Melissa. Before the silly string party happened,
I was just like, oh my gosh, yeah, I know you forgot.
there was a 2-hour prayer vigil before then, where the whole family was there, just the families, and they're crying and they're praying, and it's super raw and very vulnerable, very sad. They didn't even know that part was being recorded because it had been tapped. So it wasn't like everyone's just out partying necessarily. Now, okay, here's the thing. All of that, whatever, physical evidence, because it seems like there's a lot stacked against her. The 911 call, she said the thing about the knife as a response to the operator, like I said, and it's a full minute before she even is like able to respond to that. Also the thing with all of the glass, with the wine, all of that, the scene was contaminated by first responders. So there's no caution for scene preservation at all whenever they're trying to save someone's life. So they think that a lot could have gotten shuffled around, someone moved the glass, anything could have happened at that point if you had someone step in, whatever. There's the whole thing with the dust and the footprints and the mulch. The mulch under the window is not actually under the window at all, and Darren actually does a special with, I think it was 2020 or Dateline or something, where he he models exactly how you can get in and out of the window without touching that windowsill at all, and it's like it's almost easier to not touch it than it is to touch it. So they make it sound like, oh my god, there's no way you could have gotten in. Yes, you could. It's not directly. The mulch is off to the side. You step on concrete. It's underneath concrete. And then
The whole house.
Yeah, and so then you don't even have to touch the windowsill. So it's a few, whatever. It's not super high up, it's close to the ground, and it's big, and so when Darren was able to crouch down and get through it, he didn't disturb anything, including the mulch. Now, the bread knife with the screen fibers on it. Cross-contamination. Now, these fibers are itty bitty, like as small as you can possibly get. They transfer super...
Itty.
They're super easily transferable. They had already dusted for prints at that point with fibers that are very similar in general on the duster, but also the fact that they had dusted for prints on the screen and then took that same duster and dusted the knives.
So why in all these cases, not asking you to solve this question, but just something that we've
Why is it crime scene a
noticed,
mess?
why are investigators always the one ruining the crime scene? Isn't their whole job to be trained not to do that?
Yep. Well, the problem is that most of these ones that we're talking about happen in small towns where they don't have homicide. They don't have...
Right, but still, if that's your job, that's your occupation to do that and be trained in that, why do you suck?
Well, also keep in mind, this is in 1996. I just found plastic in here. Melissa, not your
1996 still.
1996, but like all of this stuff is very new. Like, we only had DNA fingerprinting and stuff like that starting in like the 70s and 80s.
Fine.
So like this is all relatively new, especially for Rowlett, Texas. We're not talking like, this is a suburb, almost country of Texas.
Fine.
I mean, I get it, it's your job, I agree. I think they definitely botched it, but I think that's usually why. The ones that we're looking at are older and they're in small towns. Anyways. Now here's the other thing. There are also adult prints that, they at least look like adult prints, that are found at the scene that can't be identified. They were never compared to the kids, but they're not Darlie or Darren's. They don't know whose they are.
Okay.
And then they had tried to resume the boys. To get the boys out of the grave, and they buried them holding hands.
That's really sweet.
And so sad.
And very sad.
And apparently the ME never took samples from the boys, so they had tried to resume their bodies, and I really feel like I'm saying that wrong, and they weren't able to get fingerprints because the boys were so deteriorated at that point. So they had to identify the prints using DNA, and they ended up calling this DNA sample 85J, is what they refer to it as. It's been requested upon appeal, but they're still waiting back on the results for that. They still, at this moment.
In 2020?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know this junk takes forever.
Apparently.
So now here's the one that drives me insane. This is what I think is like what the entire thing is hinged upon. A sock. 75 yards away from the house, in an alley, next to a trash can above a drainage opening, is a sock. It's a single sock that has blood on it.
Okay.
So they have it tested. Both of the boys' blood is found to be on it. Now, the thing is, it doesn't have Darlie's blood on it. And keep in mind, at this point, she's been stabbed after them. She's gushing blood. So people are wondering, could it have been planted? So Darlie did it. Let's say Darlie stabs both of the boys, has to run down to the end of the street, has to run 75 yards away, down an alley. Why would she put it over a drainage thing? Because it could just get swept away.
Right.
Like, it wouldn't take a lot. It's behind a trash can. It's really easily to be missed. It just so happened that a crime scene investigator saw it and noticed that there was blood on it. It, like, almost could have gone unnoticed. And it's not like it's something she could have said, like, oh, go check that alleyway. You should see if there's anything crazy back there. Like, no, she's not doing that. And then she would have had to get back in the amount of time that she'd still be able to scream her head off and make it look to her husband as if she didn't just stab their kids.
Why is that time sensitive, though?
Well, because then she ends up calling. They figured out that within the amount of time, because Damon was still alive, it would have taken him 8 to 9 minutes to die with his injuries. So in that amount of time, she was on the phone for 6 minutes and he was still alive for those whole 6 minutes because they were alive. The paramedics, whenever the paramedics arrived, he was still alive. Okay. So that leaves a very small window of when she could have run all the way down there, put it in a very inconspicuous location, and then come back. Like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And she doesn't have any blood on it. So she would have either she would have, oh, and that was the other thing, she couldn't have already stabbed herself at that point because she would have been bleeding down the whole road, so she would have had to go back, then go over to the sink and then cut her neck. It would have left her like 30 seconds to be able to do all of that. So all of that to say, chances are that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So some people say that they want the sock tested for chloroform. They think that what if this was a sexual assault that was gone wrong, and that's why Darlie didn't wake up whenever the boys were stabbed, and she was super groggy and disoriented whenever she first got up, which granted,
She was chloroformed?
a lot was going on. What if she was chloroformed? And then she got stabbed, she didn't even really feel it. And they never tested her, they never did a toxicology or anything. They also find that her underwear was missing whenever she woke up, according to Darlie. And no one could ever take her word for it because they just immediately rushed everybody to the hospital, and that was that. And so she doesn't know if she was in surgery after that, her whole body was in pain. She doesn't even know if she was sexually assaulted at all.
It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Where's her husband?
I was just about to get to him.
Okay.
Darren has done insurance scams before, so they look at Darren for a while to see if he had maybe been setting up some sort of scam that went wrong, of like insurance fraud. Maybe he had been setting one up on his home to collect insurance money, but he insists that that was an absolute no-brainer. No-brainer? No, absolute. No, he didn't go through with any of that. Also, Darlie's first attorneys wanted to use him as a pawn, but they used an attorney who wasn't going to use it instead, and Darlie didn't even know about that. Like, Darlie didn't know anything about the insurance scams or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, and she was saying, like, no, I'm not going to use that first attorney because he's going to say that it was my husband and it wasn't my husband. And if you were just a woman who was after money or whatever,
Sure.
you probably would take that out if you could.
Right.
And she didn't. And so to this day, Darlie is currently on death row for the deaths of both of her sons. Everybody in her family is still like appealing her sentence and stuff, trying to get her out. And so they're looking into appealing it again to say that she didn't get a fair trial and that the evidence and the crime scene was botched and all of that, which I think there's enough.
I low-key think she did it.
You think?
Yeah, I don't know why.
What was her motive?
Financial freedom. I don't know.
But she could have gotten freedom if she just would have said her husband did it.
Maybe she was annoyed with the kids too. Maybe she wanted her husband to still be in her life and she was okay with getting rid of her annoying children.
Yeah, but I don't know how okay you can be with it if you're
Well, I don't know
on
how
death row.
I don't agree with death row. Like I don't like
Yeah.
the death what is it called?
Penalty?
The death penalty. Yeah.
The death row.
I don't agree with the death penalty, but I feel like she might have done it.
But why?
I don't know. It just nothing makes sense.
Like the blood
with
in the
someone-
sink gets me. The blood on the not being on the knife gets me,
Mhm.
or not being on the part of the floor.
Yeah, the blood under the broken glass, like
That could be the crime scene people.
Yeah.
Granted, a lot of this could have been the crime scene people.
yeah. I'm not saying that like there's not enough on either side to call it,
Yeah.
but for me, I feel like it makes more sense that she did it than not.
I forgot to tell you, this is somewhat unrelated. Tori Hammer texted me over the weekend and said that she listened to the whole Mara Murray and she thinks that Mara Murray just ran away from her life.
I don't remember anything about
Oh,
Mara
I
Murray.
should have assumed. Okay, everyone listen to the Mara Murray episode.
Oh,
if you
is that the
haven't.
one where her car breaks down? And okay, yeah.
Yeah, crazy times. So yeah, everybody tell us what you think about Darlie Routier. We're going to post pictures on our Instagram so you can take a look at it. Tell us what you think. If you think
Yes.
Darlie's a murderer. I don't think she's a murderer.
I think she might be.
But Maddie also says it's okay to kill 5-year-olds is basically what she said.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I love kids.
Yeah, when they're... Never mind. I'm not sure where I was going with that. I was going to say when they were dead and then I was too wrong.
Just let us know.
Let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, how you're doing. How's the family? I'm not even sure what's going on.
Me either, ever.
Yeah, bye.
Average and